Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new month of Moody Talks. We are in April, and this month I chose to talk about envy. So I think a lot of people think that envy and jealousy are pretty much the same thing, but they are not. There's actually two different definitions. So jealousy, which I've talked about in past Moody Talks, so go back and take a look. I believe it was in February that I did the jealousy talk. And jealousy is an emotion that, you feel when something feels threatened, like you're going to lose someone or something to another person, and it feels as though it's a threat, like something is being taken away from you, or something that you deserved but was not given to you and given to someone else. So it's jealousy is probably a bit more of a I don't know how to really put it. It's like a more of a it's definitely a rougher emotion to have, just because there is that threat to it, and there's a lot of underlying emotions that go with that. There's fear, there's anger, and jealousy can get pretty toxic. And what I spoke about last time with jealousy is that it's really important that when you feel that emotion, that you get it out, that you tell the person that you're feeling jealous of, or the person that you are afraid you're going to lose, or someone to talk to about if you're thinking you're losing something that you deserve to have, that kind of thing. So that's jealousy. Envy. Envy is a different story. Envy is, wanting what another person has. And it's not necessarily that you had it taken away from you. So it's not as threatening. It's more of that like tinge of, I want that. And, I'm kind of upset that they have it and I don't. We tend to not want to talk about envy, just as we don't want to talk about jealousy, because the idea that you could tell someone, oh, I'm envious of you, or I'm envious of this person, or I'm envious of that thing that happened. Uh, it can get in the way of your ego, right? But envy can actually be a really positive kind of emotion as well, because think about what it can do for us. It can motivate us. It can make us realize that we can also have something that other people have. And this week we're going to be talking about, with all my first Moody Talks, about descriptive words and their intensity when you're feeling envy. And we're also going to talk about body sensations. We're going to talk about actions that we take when we feel envious of someone. And I think in these worksheets, I tended to go a little bit more on the like negative side. But as I was thinking about it, just before I started this video, I was like, you know what? Envy can be a great motivator. And it can be a positive thing that teaches you that you can have it, or that you want to have it and strive for it, right? It can put you in a place of positivity, like, oh, wow, they have it and I really want it too, so I'm going to do that. So, I go into these words and body sensations, that kind of thing, with kind of a negative, connotation. But honestly, it really is kind of that like neutral kind of feeling. So let's get into it, okay? Here are our worksheets. Okay, we're going to go into the descriptive words like we always do, and then we're going to put them on the word scale of our intensity. And I do this every time because I want you to think about those words that come up in your mind and how intense they are for you, because that can help you to better cope when you know the intensity of the feeling that you're having and what kind of skills you can use with it. So let's get into it. Descriptive words for envy. Okay, we have wishful, bitter, dissatisfied, discontent, greedy, resentful, displeased, and petty. Okay, these are pretty. They're pretty negative words. So always keep in the back of your mind that I do really feel like this is more of a neutral emotion. But these are the things that we can understand, that these are negative feelings, and put them in the intensity section of things and figure out what envy is teaching you in this moment, right? Because if you are feeling dissatisfied, that can be a motivator, or discontent. Motivation, right? To go after what you want. So let's put them on the word scale. These are my intensity word scale things here. So if you have different ideas of where these should go, I put the blank worksheets on my site. You can write down your own descriptive words for envy and do your own scale. Okay? They don't have to be these words. These can be, you can have totally other words for envy. So I put disappointed, displeased, and wishful, kind of on the lower end of the intensity scale. And then I move up to like discontent, petty. I feel like petty is not an action word. It's more of, just a feeling, that feeling of, can't believe they have it and I don't. Dissatisfied, bitter. Then I go up to greedy and resentful for the higher intensity. So greedy and resentful, I feel like that's a really, really strong, intense word for feeling envy. Okay. Let's go into body sensations and experiences. Okay. Body sensations and experiences when feeling envy. Having the urge to get even. Feeling pleasure when others fail. Motivated to improve. So there, I did put some, wishing the person loses. Hating the other person. And then that stomach pain when you see the person, like, I don't know, I'm not into that. I don't want to see them, that feeling, because I'm envious of them, right? Okay. And then expressions and actions for envy. Criticizing the other person, wanting to hurt those you envy. So these are pretty intense things. Trying to improve yourself. Choosing to do things you wouldn't do. Now I wrote that down and let me explain it a little. You go against your morals to get what you want, or to harm someone is more in the lines of but that would have gone all the way down the page if I wrote it all out. But that's what I mean when I say choosing to do things you wouldn't normally do. So that's going against your morals and doing something to someone to get even, to hurt those other people. Trying to show up the other person. This one can get pretty embarrassing too, because it's funny. I'm watching the show Suits, and that whole show is envy and jealousy, and it's crazy to see how much the characters are trying to one-up each other all of the time. And as I was writing these things out and watching the show, I was just like, wow, this whole show, I think it's 8 seasons, is all about envy and jealousy. So yeah, so these are the type of expressions of envy, the actions you may take when you're envious. So what I'm going to be doing a lot of talking about, when envy becomes toxic, and especially with social media, those kind of things. I think we get very envious when we see other people's lives and we think that they are doing better than us, or they have things that we want. And I think when it's constantly in our face, I think that's a real problem. And I think that's one of the reasons why I don't go on to social media that often, because I don't want to feel like I'm losing out on something, that I'm not doing enough to get ahead, to do the things that I do. I have my own pace. So I'm going to talk about that, about social media. And there are a lot of other things, like how do we cure envy, right? So we'll be talking about coping skills, and, if there's anything that you want to hear about envy, please drop it in the DMs or comments, and let me know what you'd like me to talk about, what you want to hear, because I can go more on the lines of, talking about social media, why we feel envy, or I can talk about what we can do to stop feeling envious. And I think they're all great ideas to discuss, so we'll be discussing them all month. So I will see you guys next week, and have a great rest of your week. Bye.